So now that we've had a chance to learn a little bit about the Electoral College, I want to talk you through a few alternatives to using the Electoral College to elect a president. If you haven't yet watched the other videos before this one in our playlist, make sure you do that first. I want to start with this graphic, which I think is it's busy, to be clear, but it's an interesting way to look at how we have elected presidents since the first election when George Washington ran unopposed. As you look at this graphic, I want you to notice that every presidential election is here, that we have the different parties and candidates from that party. Well, rather the winners of that party. There are a couple of elections back in the green bars over there to the left, where the House of Representatives decided who would win. And that's part of the Constitution's failsafe in case nobody gets a majority in the Electoral College. You heard about that in one of C.G.P. Gray's videos earlier. But then what you can see is there in the middle, the 50% line, when one of the bars extends over that line, one of the two long bars, not the orange, like third-party ones, that means that a candidate got more than 50% of the vote. And in just about all cases, I'm looking now to see if there's one where it's not the case, that candidate became president. But what you'll notice is that many times the candidate that won, the one whose name is here, their vote did not extend over that 50% line. And so this points to one of the things that can happen with the Electoral College, which is that you can become president with less than a majority of the vote. But it also shows us that, for example, in the 2016 election, neither Trump nor Clinton got a majority. Trump won, and there's a slight difference between how close to that 50% line his votes were versus Clinton's. So I want to talk you through 4 different alternatives that we could use to choose a president. And I'll talk about them each in turn, starting with the district plan. So 2 states currently use this system, Nebraska and Maine. And what they do is they look at who wins each congressional district, and they get one of the state's Electoral College votes. So notice here on the right in Maine, this is from 2016, the first congressional district, which is the part along the coast, was won by Hillary Clinton. The second congressional district, which is the more rural part of northern Maine, was won by Donald Trump. And Donald Trump won the state. Hillary Clinton won a plurality of votes in the whole state. So when you have a district method, you give your 2 Electoral College votes that are kind of like the Senate votes, the ones that come from having senators, to the winner of the plurality vote statewide. In Maine's case in 2016, that was Hillary Clinton. And then you give each congressional district vote to the winner of that, the plurality winner of that congressional district. So in 2016, all of the Nebraska districts voted a majority for, or I shouldn't say a majority, voted in a plurality for Donald Trump. So even though Nebraska used the district plan, all of those votes went to Donald Trump. But in Maine, you see, there was one congressional district that was different than the rest of the state, the second one. So Donald Trump got one of Maine's 4 Electoral College votes. Hillary Clinton got the other 3. They're the only 2 states who do this, and any state could decide to do it if their state legislature passed a law saying this is how we're going to allocate your Electoral College votes. Because here's the thing that not many people know. Nothing in the Constitution gives you, as a citizen, the right to participate in deciding for whom your state's electors will vote. That's done by the extension of the privilege by your state legislature. So today, right now, the state legislature of whatever state you live in, for most of us that's Tennessee, could say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and award Tennessee's 11 Electoral College votes to the Republican nominee for president, presumably Donald Trump. They could do that today in April 2020, and we could do nothing about it except, vote the people out who made that choice at the next statewide legislative election. But we couldn't stop them from doing that because the Constitution doesn't say that citizens have a right to vote. So the state can decide to adopt the district plan. And 2 states have, but more states could. If you look at this map that I'm showing you, you'll see that in 2016, even though we think of many states as being safe for Democrats or safe for Republicans, when we look at the breakdown of the party for whom they voted, it's not actually as lopsided as you might imagine. Look, for example, at Oregon, which you think of as being a very liberal state, but they just barely have more than 50% of the state voting for Democrats. You think about Texas, which we think of as a very conservative state, just a little bit more than 50% of that state voted for Trump in 2016. So if we took the 2016 Electoral College map and we refigured it using this congressional district method, you can see that Donald Trump still would have won. But each state, instead of sending all of its electors to the same candidate, would break them up. So this would allow for more proportionality in the Electoral College vote. So you'll see in Tennessee, we have 11, 2 of them, the districts that contain Shelby County and Davidson County, would have given Electoral College votes to Hillary Clinton. But even though the Tennessee state legislature may not like that, you go somewhere like California, for example, where currently 55 Electoral College votes are going to the Democrats. If we had used this method in California, 7 of those would have gone to the Republican. So like I said, this plan allows for more proportionality, and the benefit is that it does not require a constitutional amendment, which is good because those are hard. Another plan is called the National Popular Vote Compact. And this is where, again, the states pass a law that say, we will award our state's electoral college votes to the winner of the national popular vote. So this is a way that we can work around the need to pass a constitutional amendment to switch from electoral college to popular vote. Essentially, this is just a group of states saying, we're going to pretend like we're in a popular vote situation, and we're just going to give our votes, our electoral college votes, to the winner of the national popular vote. So this map here shows us the status of that. So all of the green states are the ones that have adopted this. You'll notice that in the text off to the side, the 16 states that have adopted this possess 196 electoral college votes, but you need 270 to win. So this National Popular Vote Compact, this bill that these 16 states have passed, plus the District of Columbia, well, 15 states plus the District of Columbia, I should say, these states have a provision in their law that say when we have enough states to make a coalition representing 270 electoral college votes, this law will go into effect. So none of these states are currently doing this, but they will if they get a coalition representing a majority of electoral college votes. Now, I want you to look at the states, either the green states, or you can look at the list over to the right. The states that have done this are Delaware, Hawaii, Rhode Island, Vermont, Colorado, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, California, Illinois, New York, and the District of Columbia. Take a moment and think about what you know about those states and what they have in common. Do you notice that they're all states that generally support Democrats for president? That's not a mistake. Think about the last 2 elections in the last 20 years where the winner of the Electoral College was not the candidate who got the most votes from voters. That was in 2000, where Al Gore received more popular votes, but George Bush got more Electoral College votes, and the Republican won. And in 2016, Hillary Clinton got more popular votes. Donald Trump got more Electoral College votes, and again, the Republican won. It should come as no surprise then that Democrats would favor a program where their candidate would have won in those elections. Now, I'm not suggesting that their motivation is partisan or necessarily political, but it's a good indication that some of these other states that we don't see in green are unlikely to pass this legislation. The third opportunity to change is just to go to a straight popular vote. So here I've shown you essentially how many votes each party got. And I'm looking at this now and realizing that the vote counters up here, these right here, got cut off. So I apologize for that. But essentially, this is going to show you that if we used a popular vote, the line that was tallest would represent the winner. And so this is really simple. It's elegant. It's what CGP Grey argues for. And it's really simple. We just, everybody votes. Whoever gets the most votes wins. A last alternative is called ranked choice voting. And there's a really interesting CGP Grey video about this. It's also sometimes called the single transferable vote. I'll be sure to make a link in eLearn if you want to go watch that to see how this would work in practice. But essentially, you rank your choices. Someone's mowing. Good times. He'll be gone in just a minute. So you rank your choices, and then if it turns out that someone doesn't get a majority of first choice, then we eliminate the one with the lowest votes and reallocate those to their second choice. Anyway, it's kind of confusing to explain. Watch the CGP Grey video. It's really good. So I want to talk just a minute about some of the less obvious benefits of keeping the system we have. One of them is that it saves money, and it saves candidates for president from spending more money than they would have to otherwise. Now, CGP Grey talks about the fact that, some people say that candidates would only pay attention to cities if we went to a popular vote. And he suggests that that's not really like a good strategy. And he's right. But right now, the candidates are running in about 12 battleground or swing states. And those states include places like New Hampshire and Iowa and Ohio, not places that have these major metropolitan areas. If we went to a popular vote system, candidates would have to campaign everywhere. And that includes the most expensive media markets in the country, which would require them to spend a great deal more money on buying television advertisements for their campaign. So if you think that the problem with elections for president right now is that there's just not enough money being spent, then the popular vote is definitely your alternative. But if you, like me, are a little concerned about how much money is there already, the popular vote's only going to increase that. And it's going to be one of those exponential increases, not just like a doubling. The nice thing about the current system is that it focuses the race in a few key states where, by definition, no single party has an advantage. Those 10 or 12 battleground states, those swing states, are the ones that get all the attention because it's where the race is really close. And so there's not an inherent Republican or Democrat advantage. If we were to go to a national popular vote, it would have a partisan advantage. And the advantage would be that Democrats tend to live in places close to other people, like cities, suburbs, and Republicans like to spread out to more rural areas. So it would be easier for Democrats to get to more of their voters than it would be for Republicans. And one of the benefits of the current system is that it's a level playing field. Okay? The next non-obvious benefit is that recounts are much easier. So many of you watching this were too young to remember the absolute chaos and debacle of the 2000 election. But I'm here from the past to tell you that it was 36 days between election day and when we had a president-elect. 36 days, okay? If you're watching this in real time, we haven't been quarantined for half of that yet. So, double this time of just saying, every day we wake up, I have no idea who's going to be president. And so then, and that was the best case scenario because it was just one state. If we had something similar where we weren't sure who won, in a national popular vote system, we would have to recount everywhere. Oh my gosh, like that is horrifying to me. I don't want that. Finally, the fourth non-obvious benefit of the Electoral College is that it allows states to maintain control over elections. The reason we have an Electoral College is that we care about the states first. It was set up as a federalist system, or rather a system of federalism, right? So states under the Constitution have the right to decide when elections take place, where they take place, what the ballot design is, all of that, what technology is used. States have that control. But if we were to move to a popular vote or something like a popular vote, then we would no longer have a justifiable reason why, access, ballot design, voting machines in California should be different than the ones in Tennessee. It would really empower the national government to create a single national standard. And maybe you think that's great, but there are a lot of people who are worried about the national government taking over something that for more than 200 years has been the responsibility of the states. Okay? So I'm not saying that any of these is a death knell for the national popular vote, but these are all things that don't often come up when we talk about switching from the Electoral College to a popular vote. So now I want to know what you think. Go on over to the discussion board and let us know if you think we should keep the Electoral College, and if so, why? And if not, which one of these alternatives you think is better and why?